Jason is here.
All right, everyone. Let's see if it worked this time. The stream broke a minute ago, but now I think it's back. All right, how's it going, Bespin Bulletin?
Uh, it's going. I think
Yeah.
it's going. We got some little updates today for people.
Yeah, there's like little baby updates. It's not going to be like, oh, and this one, Cara Dune has her head cut off. Like nothing like that.
No, little baby Yoda updates.
Yeah,
Can we call it that?
Bo-Katan gets rocket boots. Nothing like that.
Chris Breezy would lose his shit if we said that.
He would freak out, man.
Yeah, Chris would love it.
You could become a channel member if you want to support the show and all of the trips I take to El Segundo, which we're talking about today. And same thing for our buddy here, Bestman Bulletin. There's a link right here to his Patreon, which has lost a bunch because of slowdown. I mean, it's like we can't really make things go into production when there's not things in production.
But also, we don't lie and make
Yes.
stuff up to keep a consistent stream of YouTube money and Patreon money.
Yeah.
We're not like a lot of other people who just lie. We gotta,
So we're not going to reveal that Yoda is baby Grogu's dad today, right? We're not going to do that one. Okay, because we might make some money if we did that, though.
I think we would make money if we did do that. We should also say like a Knights of the Old Republic TV show movies also in the works.
Oh, how about this one? Grogu gets sent back in time to the Knights of the Old Republic, and he starts it. He starts the Knights. He starts the Knights of the Old Republic, but then they go evil and they become the Knights of Ren. It's all connected, guys. Give us money.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Directed by the Russo brothers.
Right. In between doing Avengers 29 and 30, they're gonna direct it. Trust us.
But then they can drop out. We can use that as a credible lie. But well, they dropped out because of Avengers. Now Martin Scorsese's gonna do it.
Right. Oh, and here's a link to Bespin's coffee if you want to just buy him dinner. You should buy him dinner.
Coffee is obviously the better one. Because you can, again, in a monthly thing, you can on coffee, but most people tend not to. It's just a one-off payment or tip. And obviously
I like coffee because it's connected to your PayPal, so it's just really easy just to be like, here you go, champ. The way it does it.
Yeah, and it takes less of a percentage, so that's usually helpful.
Yeah.
And again, I hate talking about it. I hate asking people to do any of the support stuff. I hate it. But like we said, there's been a ton of Star Wars news. Even again, we don't make things up, so everything is slower for us in general. So that means the YouTube income for you is down, and the Patreon of whatever. You know what I mean? That's all down. Coffee's down. Wherever.
Yeah, it's the way. It's just the nature
it's just a cycle
of the beast. If you're not making stuff up.
Yeah, it's just a cycle. Yeah.
It is the way it is.
Yeah.
Skywalker says just 11:38, and we'll bring you lots of consistent streaming once in a while. Yeah, sorry about that, Skywalker's Academy. Like I said, it was just not really anything going on at the moment. We are heading into a busier season, though. We are ramping up for the production of The Mandalorian and Grogu. You might remember back in around May, I did a show and I was like, is the filming going to start in May? And that was because of things that I was hearing from the people who work on it. People who
I think it was even earlier than May.
It was like April for May. For May. And because that's what they were being told, hey, get ready and all that stuff. But then filming never really got going. It never the set builds were never coming, but I knew that they did. I knew that something happened, that something was filmed, and I just didn't know what it was. And we always go through maybe it's just
second unit or something.
Filming a volcano for Mustafar or stupid stuff like that. And we're like, well, maybe it is, but then I'm like, well, they're filming in LA. This is in LA. I knew it was. And so, or at least it was beginning there. I don't know if they went anywhere else besides LA, to be honest. But when it started there, I'm like, that's not really making any sense. They wouldn't be doing second unit shooting junk They don't do it that way. They can't go shoot extras walking down the Navarro streets if they haven't made the sets. And so it wasn't making any sense. So kind of just kept asking and digging. And basically, actually, this is weird, but I'm going to go to your article to explain what was learned. I mean, on that front. This is from bestmanbulletin.com, and I posted it by my little thing on Threads, which is what he quotes in here. Star Wars
and
Mandalorian.
The Threads is linked on there as well, so if you want to go and follow Jason, like,
yeah, I made him do it like 5 times. I was like, no, more. I was like that guy, Kylo Ren guy. I was like that guy. Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu film time-sensitive scenes, principal photography to begin within 3 weeks. And right here, okay. The Mandalorian and Grogu was initially widely reported to begin filming in mid-June. Reports from Collider, myself, and even Din Djarin actor Brendan Wayne all pointed to a June start for Lucasfilm's first Star Wars film since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. June has come and gone with no updates on the start of filming. Over a week ago, I reported that principal photography on the Jon Favreau flick had yet to begin despite initial plans for an official June start. The delay in filming is absolutely nothing to worry about. No, you should all be worried. This is, I mean, they didn't sell Star Wars. They just lost it. They don't know where it is. No, The Mandalorian and Grogu isn't set to hit theaters for another 22 months. And one other little piece of context for that too, that 22 months is that before they start filming, a lot of times because of the volume work, if this film is heavily based in volume work, a lot of the like some of the visual effects are done beforehand.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So that's even more time that they have on this one than like a standard non-volume based picture. And by all accounts, it sounds like it's going to be kind of the same as the TV show.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
just probably at a higher quality when you get down to it. Like there'll be less. Oh, that kind of sucks, but let's just move on. Probably less of that. Lucasfilm had plenty of time to make sure the script is to standard, and principal photography would run around 3 to 4 months, giving the production plenty of time in post. Reliable Star Wars insider Making Star Wars has offered an update on the situation on the upcoming flick via the social network Threads. I love that it has to even be like explain what it is.
Well, it's that it was that for also like the social network movie, Facebook, but you know.
I see what you're doing. What you're doing. All right. Yeah. Starring Lex Luthor, right? Okay.
Yeah. Lex Luthor.
MSW, that's me, who recently shared images of the sets being built for The Mandalorian and Grogu, revealed principal photography on the flick, though Lucasfilm did film some scenes with a limited cast, likely due to time sensitivities around cast members. And like on that right there, you can draw a lot of conclusions as to what that means.
I draw a lot of conclusions, yes.
I think it's like probably obvious, but at the same time, it's like I know that that part is what happened, but I can't tell you 100% like it was for Pedro.
No, it's speculation. Like we get into it and it's like we talk about the gaps and stuff, but it's speculation. We don't know.
Yeah.
And if either of us ever find out, we will obviously say, like, hey, update to this story.
Well, I feel like this is going to draw out the attacker, right? This is what this does.
I hope so.
I hope so, right? MSW added that principal photography, what's considered to be the more official start of filming, will occur in El Segundo in around 3 weeks' time. And then here's the full quote: "Support me on coffee." That's not my quote. That's your quote.
Oh shit!
That's your quote.
Fake news.
Okay, so this is what I wrote on Threads, a social network. After confirming the set builds for the Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu have begun, I can also confirm a few scenes have already filmed with a limited cast for undisclosed reasons, probably due to cast time sensitivities. What we usually call the start of principal photography for Star Wars The Mandalorian will begin at the training in El Segundo in about 3 weeks. Me, via Threads. So you go on to write, the time and talent sensitive scenes point towards actors who might be unavailable for the principal photography shoot, and one name springs to mind: Pedro Pascal, the internet's daddy and leading man of The Mandalorian, is a busy fellow to say the least. Pascal started his year off shooting scenes for The Last of Us Season 2 in Canada in February, later arriving in New Mexico to shoot for Ari Aster's Eddington, heading to New York to film Celine songs. I was going to say Celine Dion for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Celine songs, The Materialist, possibly taking part in Gladiator 2 reshoots amongst that, and finally landing in London earlier this month to begin work on the Fantastic Four, which will film for the rest of 2024. Yeah, so Pedro Pascal, if you need money, maybe ask Pedro. It sounds like he's got money right now. I think he got paid. I think if you need to borrow like $16 or something like that.
Pedro's not like buying from the McDonald's saver, mate. We know that.
No. He's actually he comes from pretty good money. He comes from Newport. That's where I wish I lived. Okay. Anyways, if there are time sensitive scenes that need to be filmed, Pedro Pascal fits that bill. If and only if those scenes require Din Djarin to be without a helmet on the vast majority of the time. Djarin is played physically by Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder. However, I must state that this is merely my personal speculation on if Pascal was a reason for those time-sensitive scenes to be filmed when they were. Filming began on The Materialist on April 29th and concluded on June 6th. Pascal seemingly returned briefly in late June to Vancouver, where The Last of Us Season 2 is filming, and was spotted alongside his co-star Bella Ramsey. Pascal arrived in London in the early part of the month in preparation for Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. If Pascal were to shoot scenes for The Mandalorian and Grogu, it would have occurred between June 7th and June 21st. There's also a chance that Pedro Pascal could have shot scenes in May, as Pascal also returned to Los Angeles around May 15th and was in the area for at least 10 days before returning to New York to wrap up The Materialist. The Mandalorian and Grogu is slated to debut in theaters on May 22nd, 2026. Maybe Lucasfilm will offer fans an update on the production at next month's D23 event. Look, it's our video. That's us right there. Look at Pedro.
That's us. Like that's all three of us.
Yeah, right there. I'm John Favreau right here.
Okay.
You're Pedro Pascal. Hi, Daddy.
Yeah.
And then right here is little Rob in the middle.
Well, Rob.
Little Rob. Yeah, Rob is heading to Kamikan University. Oh yeah, we never looked at those fucking pictures on the show, did we?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think we did. So I'll just go over to that, show this tab instead. And right here. Yeah, so this is when from the set build we were talking about in the article. And there was a couple of pictures that I took. It's it looks like some kind of turret kind of thing being built around houses, and I believe it's on Navarro, because see the black crap on the top there and the black crap on the bottom there. So I'm pretty sure this is Navarro set that's being built for the movie. So you could expect to see Navarro in the movie,
just like you can in every season of The Mandalorian.
Just like every season of The Mandalorian, yes. Excuse me. Yeah, I've heard some stuff about another planet that will be in the movie, I think, but I need to do a little bit more work on that, a little bit more confirmation before I misspeak or something like that. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I believe we do get a new planet at least. I mean, I know that's kind of an obvious given, so whatever. But anyways, yeah. So it is nice to know that we have a new film actually happening. I know there was no reason to ever think that The Mandalorian wouldn't happen, obviously, because of what it is, but with the last couple of years that we've had with Star Wars, you can't take anything off the table.
No, and again, we can't expect Lucasfilm to give us updates on, hey, we're gonna start filming. It's not like James Gunn who shares updates on Superman production or Peacemaker, whatever it is, right? He's just on.
It's not like they're cool, is what you're saying.
Right, yeah. There's no again, so I know they did it before for Ahsoka, right? When Ahsoka started filming, they shared an image. Maybe within 3 weeks we'll get a tweet from him one day just saying now in production, little picture of Grogu or something.
Right.
Or we speculated, because we've speculated this for days, weeks. Maybe they'll just say that D23, we are now in production on the next theatrical Star Wars movie.
And we should also add that we think the D23 presence could be pretty small, if anything at all.
If for speculation, I think like that's at least the people in the room. I think are going to get the Skeleton Crew trailer, and whether that gets put online afterwards, we don't know. Probably, maybe.
Yeah. I think that is probably
would be about 3 months out
likely.
at that point, right? So
that fits the normal time frame of getting a teaser around that point.
Yeah, and then maybe they'll show only for the people in the room, not for the public, the Andor teaser, like they showed us at Celebration last year.
Yeah.
Just to like reuse it and get like a different crowd to see it, because chances are like a lot of people who were attending didn't come to London to see that.
Right.
And then yeah, maybe an update on the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like I think we've talked about it before. They want to keep a lot of their announcements for Japan for Celebration in the spring.
Yeah.
Because going into that, you have nothing really. Like we know the Andor's coming out. We know Ahsoka is in the writing stages. They've already told us about the movies. Maybe at that point, 3 years on, they'll have a 2 years on. Is it 2 years on? Yeah, 2 years on. They'll have an update on the Rey movie. You know, of we're gonna go into filming in a month or something. Daisy's now read a script.
Stephen Knight is going to start writing as soon as Taika turns in his final draft of his other movie, because they're bros and they said, "Hey, you go first out of respect." Because Boba Fett rules with respect. The Star Wars thing. If you know, you know it. You know.
I love in that one scene of Boba Fett where he's like, it's a few scenes before he's walking down like Mos Eisley with Fennec Shand, and he's like, "I don't want to rule with fear," you know. And then a few scenes like he fucking blows the guy up like, in the middle of the square. I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like that. Like I'd be pretty scared as a citizen, you know.
Yeah.
The new king of where I live just blew a dude up.
Like, yeah, and he has a flamethrower on his wrist as well. You know.
Yeah, I'd be pretty scared, to be honest with
you. Scott says Mercedes Casca Reeves said in a newsletter that she had to balance Hollywood and her pro wrestling job over the past week. No idea if related, but an interesting tidbit if the Night Owls appear. And yeah, that is interesting timing for sure. Primarily, like sets don't seem to be built, so if they were to have filmed something, it would have been in a studio at Manhattan Beach in on the Volume. If they were to like do that, and I would kind of think not, but you can't rule it out because it's such a slow rollout on this one. It's not like they're like hitting the ground running up against time. It sounds like they're just kind of.
But also the balance could even just be rehearsals. You know, if she's got an action scene she needs to take part in, she'll do rehearsals for weeks in advance.
True.
For that.
For
it's
sure.
It's the same thing of like Pedro doesn't start filming Fantastic till July 29th, like specifically. But they're in London and have been for like a couple of weeks because they got to go through rehearsals. They got to go through like multiple stages before they get in front of the camera. So it's not just, hey, this is going to film in 3 weeks. You start work in 3 weeks. You start work well before that as an actor. So especially
every now and then, though, on Star Wars projects, I do question if they did rehearsals, because every now and then I'm like, did you rehearse this?
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I was their professor in a college, to be like, did you do the reading? You know, that's kind of what it's like. Skywalker's Academy asks, speculation, will they recast Greef Karga? Well, I'll meet your speculation with speculation. And when I see Navarro with what looks like a military turret on the premises next to what looks to be standard Navarro places, I'm gonna maybe throw it out there that maybe war has come to the sector, something nerdy like that. And maybe his demise is a part of that, you know. That would seem like something like a viable option. Recasting, like they're gonna recast what's his face from
Balin.
They're gonna do like a recast on Balin. And like that makes sense considering the very limited amount of screen time he had and his importance to moving forward. With Greef Karga, unless there's some angle that we just never understood about the character, I would think that they would just move on and they'd be like, okay, this is like Greef Karga just died, and here's there's a new person ruling it, and they're not good, or they are. However it could go. IG-11 is running for mayor. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I would imagine that they don't recast him. I would think that would be weird for them. They were really close with him and stuff, but
Yeah.
anything's possible. I mean, someday they're going to recast Luke Skywalker. Someday they've already recast Han Solo before, so it's not like anything sacred in that front, you know. So
I agree. I don't think they'll recast. I think that'll be their send off for Carl. I think
yeah,
I would even sort of anticipate you know a
hmm
thank you to Carl at the end of the movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know I was ruminating on that the other day, and then I was like, man, it's really cool that that guy, like in his 70s, got to get some Star Wars directing under his belt, like at the very end of his life. That's pretty rad. Like you wouldn't think that an old guy would have the energy, but he did, and he did a
Mhm.
pretty good job. So thought that was like pretty cool. And I think Dawn agrees with me. She said this before I said it, but with some careful script adaptation, Karga's demise could be a motivational factor for Din. I can't see a recast. He was too iconic. And yeah, and I agree with you, Don. That's where I'm coming at this from as well. This might be, it could also be one of the things that makes it like personal for Mando, more personal for
Mhm.
Mando anyways. Like, like Thrawn coming back, like, oh, it sucks, we're in danger, but it's not necessarily like he wants to punch Thrawn in the face. And we
Mhm.
kind of might need that. Like that would help, right?
But we
If he
don't
has
think
like
this is gonna like. We sort
no.
of anticipate the Thrawn thing will come into play like much later in this movie, right? Like
I
just
think the real Thrawn thing will come in Filoni's movie. Like that's where it's
right,
really
but
going to go
like
down. I
how
would
they
imagine.
tie
Yeah.
the Mandalorian Grogu to Ahsoka, and then obviously which will ultimately become Dave's movie. We anticipate that to be later in the film, right?
If it's even in the film,
Yeah,
is I mean to be real about it, because
yeah, yeah.
um I was talking to a friend up in Marin. That's near San Francisco. That's in that area.
Not Marin from
No,
Jedi
Marin County.
Survivor.
No, up from around Marin County. And they were they've been a very good source over the years, I'm going to call them a crosstalk source.
Hmm.
And the crosstalk source was saying that the movie is very simple.
Hmm.
It's not a complicated film. It's what you would expect, and the goal of it is to make it a fun theatrical experience.
Could you say it's just a simple film trying to make its way in the universe?
I could,
Yes.
and you just did.
Right.
So yeah, what that tells me, or what assumptions I'm forced to make from that, is we were supposed to have Mandalorian season 4. This isn't, by all accounts, an adaptation of what would have been Mandalorian season 4. And for a time, it was just going to be Mando training his apprentice Grogu in the ways of becoming a bounty hunter. So I'm guessing that it's going to have a bit of a simple take on that. and
Yeah, like
then
they.
and then they'll probably throw in some side stuff, like when Plagueis shows up in
Mhm.
that new show, an Acolyte. It's like, yeah, was Plagueis the point? No. Did it take away from anything? No. Most people, I think it's going to be like, I think it might be that shallow. I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, well, it was again. Like, I think for season 4, I think at least part of their idea, part of their plan, was to go to the quote basics of the Mandalorian
Yeah.
and seeing Mando and Grogu, the thing that people love about the show, going on bounties together, and then
Yeah.
there's obviously a main threat and a main villain will come into play later in the movie, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
like you would anticipate. But yeah, so I think that's just being squished into like a 2 hour something movie, you know,
and
like.
and, and it could go, I mean, just another possibility to speculate. It could start like that, and then they might stumble upon what's going on in Dathomir. And while they may not go there and obviously defeat the witches and Thrawn and that thing, they
Hmm.
might be like the Paul Revere, who's all, the witches are coming. The witches are coming. You know what I mean? It could be something to that effect.
I sort of
It's
anticipate that,
possible.
like, because like Ezra's linked up now with the rebels and Hera, like he's obviously going to tell them what he knows.
Mm-hmm.
That like Carson Teva or somebody will reach out to Mando, like who's been helping them with like bounties, and because he's offered to work with the Republic, right? Like at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
Um, and then like, hey, we might need your help with this, or we need you to go to this place, and like
Freaking narc. He's a narc now.
he's a knock now. Yeah, it's not respected in the bounty hunter world anymore.
Yeah. And there's other possibilities of just layouts that I don't think this is going to happen at all. But you could have everything going on in the Ahsoka series with Ahsoka and Sabine in that weird place. All that jazz is going down, right? There's always a chance that Mando is the one who gets them and brings them back. Like that could also be a side thing, and then when they do Ahsoka season 2, we see what they were doing before they got picked up. Like I don't think that's going to happen, but it's obviously with what we know, it's not off the table.
But also, you can tell two sides of a tale, right? So you can have what's happening with Ahsoka and crew on over that side of the galaxy, and what will then impact the movie. But you could also have us being updated with what's happening in the galaxy that we know, with like Din and Hera and Ezra and everybody else where Thrawn now is. So they kind of form each other and speak to each other, and so by the time we eventually lead up to the crossover movie, we sort of know where everybody is.
Yeah, and you could also throw a little girl into a hole, and then never explain why she was alive.
Right.
I'm gonna guess in season 2 we see Plagueis catch her, like, oh, my little baby girl. Mumbo Jimbo gave a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Mumbo. Says, just tuning in. Too long since I've been able to catch a live stream with MSW and company. Sending some love your way. I appreciate all you, Bespin, Rob, Santa, and Meg do for the Star Wars YouTube community. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that a lot, man. It means a lot. Got straight paid. Ray of Water says, I also need Favreau to lock Ludwig on for the score, please. Am I presumptuous just to feel like that's a given?
But he didn't do 3, did he? He didn't do season 3.
No, he didn't do 3, but they were kind of, yeah. He did he did the themes, right?
He did the theme for Boba Fett, but he didn't do any work on season 3 of Mando or the other stuff for Boba Fett.
Yeah,
he moved on to like bigger and better things in many ways, right? Like he went on to Oppenheimer, and Wakanda Forever, like which is why he couldn't commit to like those 2 shows, those 2 seasons. Maybe he'll come back for this, but
if you can't have Ludwig, who do you want? Giacchino?
Maybe I don't like the music in Boba Fett outside of the main theme. So like
the main theme is good though. I remember
the main theme is cool, yeah. And then I didn't really care about the music in Mandalorian season 3. I think the Wish Ludwig or the Light Ludwig, like whatever I can't remember his name, but he was like Ludwig's like partner, right? Like he worked on the music with past seasons with him.
His name is Lil Ludwig. Lil Ludwig.
Little Ludwig.
Lil Ludwig. That's what
Little
Lud.
Okay.
Little Luddy.
I wasn't a fan of what he did, So I'd hope they go into a different direction. Obviously to keep some of the work that Ludwig's done before, but maybe like Ludwig see this as an opportunity to return because it's a theatrical release, Yeah. There's more eyes on the movie, more ears on his music. Maybe he feels like that's the time to come back and help out. And if you were doing the big Filoni movie, the crossover movie, who do you want for that? Do you want the Ahsoka guys to come in, or do you want Ludwig for that?
Yeah, I didn't mind the Ahsoka music.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. So if it went either way, who does the Ahsoka? Do you remember who does the Ahsoka music?
It was the Kindness, right?
It was the Kindness. Yeah. I would say I would want Ludwig first, just because he kind of kicked off this era with these themes. I think he kind of deserved on the film. He definitely deserves the film. I think it would be unfortunate to go and make a couple of memorable themes for a thing, and then the movie comes out and you're not a part of it, you know.
Hmm.
But I mean, he would still get credited, obviously, with
Hmm.
themes by Big Ludwig, not Little Ludwig.
Not a little Ludwig.
But yeah. Um, Skywalker's Academy says, I agree. They tend to let his character go with a meaningful end. Yeah. Oh, talking about Karga. Yeah, I would hope so. Ben says, by prediction, Mando and Grogu do some basic bounty hunting in the movie, and then by the end, they get contacted by the X-wing pilot about the bigger threat coming to the galaxy. That sounds completely plausible based off of past stories and how they've done it.
Somebody's gonna like run that as a story, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think how I think though they would want to do it is because like you want your hero to be responsible
Hmm.
for the success. I would think it kind of works in reverse. Mando hunts bounty hunters and then hunts stormtroopers, and as he's hunting these Imperials and stormtroopers with Grogu, just doing the basic thing he thought he was going to do, he ends up figuring out that there's a larger plot, and then he probably brings that to Carson Teva. Carson Teva probably once again brings it to the New Republic, who then sits on its hands and doesn't know how to act. You
Hmm.
know, that's what I would think would happen based off of the past story myself. So a little spin on Ben's take, but yeah. Oh no, Felonious D. Felonious D. The witches are coming. No, Felonious D. No. No. Sabersmith says, would Kiner be open to do it? I mean, isn't Kiner like doesn't Kiner primarily do the cartoons and stuff like that?
They
I would
just
just
did the Ahsoka music, didn't they? The Kindness.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'm wondering like if they're like does Kiner have like some new job, like some movie or something, you know what I mean, that we don't know
Hmm.
about, or that I'm because I don't pay that much attention to that stuff, you know.
No.
Rhea Water confirms the Kiners do Ahsoka, Marco Beltrami does Jedi Prime, Michael Giacchino does Taika's movie, John Powell does New Jedi Order with a main theme by John Williams. Problem solved.
No, nobody's doing the Taika movie.
But there is no Taika movie, right?
Nobody's doing the Taika movie.
I feel like now that we finally are saying that and like losing all hope on it, it's just they're gonna like announce that it's being fast tracked and it's coming out next summer. But
Well, Taika is on a so Lucasfilm can take this like one of two ways. I think with Taika, like
mhm.
he's sort of at the moment on a downward trajectory. Um, Apparently there's a lot of like eyes on what his next movie does, like either critically or like financially. In Clara and the Sun,
Mhm.
starring Jen Ortega and I think Amy Adams.
Right.
Um, and the book is very like well received, it's very liked. So if Taika does well there, because I don't know, it seems as if he's lost all momentum in his career at the moment.
Mhm.
Um, I'm getting weird ads for him that he's involved in. I don't even know
Like
what they are.
like
He's
really?
Yeah, like I'm getting him on like TikTok and stuff like that. Like him and his wife just doing ads for like random shit.
Oh, remember
Um,
when they did that Shrek one?
yeah, they did a Shrek Airbnb ad. Yeah, like this one's worse than that. Like that was at least funny because he's dressed as Shrek or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. He's sort of going down. So I think like Lucasfilm will either jump ship, but like they never officially jump ship because they never announced anything's cancelled. Right? There was just like
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Time Bandits
Um,
looks cool.
hmm So he's
I don't know about losing all the little people in Time Bandits. That's the part that's kind of the stinky part to me. But Time
mhm.
Bandits looks cool though.
Well, he either like either Lucasfilm either like let him go, sort of like, and
Uh
don't
huh.
acknowledge him, or like he comes back into the fold because he's like desperate for a hit.
Yeah.
Like one of two things happen. Um, I don't know what happens with him. I think that movie doesn't happen. The Donald Glover movie is not happening. Like I don't like nobody's talking about. Donald's been doing press all week, a few weeks for his new album and his new tour, and like I know he's talking about music, but he's also talking about like everything else. And like Star Wars isn't coming up in those conversations. He's not bringing Star Wars up, you know.
So maybe he should stop being a childish Gambino and man up and do
Hmm.
a mannish Star Wars movie. What do you
Yeah,
think about that? What do you think about that,
I,
Donald
I
Glover?
I I think Donald should just make it a TV show like it was originally supposed to be. But he and his brother was like, no, let's make it a film.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, just Like Donald's
Hey.
TV shows are great. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is great. Atlanta's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see him do that. Like, but hey, like if it's just another like film in the Star Wars pile of movies that don't happen. Like,
Yeah.
like how confident are you like on the remainder on Mangold and Ray and Levy?
I would I would imagine that Mangold's happens, and my the only reason why I say it is he had something in the Lucasfilm pipeline that was in development hell and it got made. So
Hmm.
there is that, which says something that he can navigate the politics of the corporation between Disney and them. Now, granted, his movie did fail, and for all of the times that we've always heard, like, oh, so and so, this movie's canceled because Taika's movie wasn't a home run and stuff like that. The Mangold one never suffered that,
No.
and it's because people want it. People are excited about the concept, so they
Hmm.
don't go to the bad place with it, you know. But and then what was the other one? There was the Mangold and
Mangold, Levy, and Ray.
oh, and like you and I always talk about, like Sean Levy. I mean, that guy is a for as a director for hire is a powerhouse in
Hmm.
terms of the corporation loves him. He delivers for them. He's been doing it for years actually, and I think that is a better way for them to go now. Granted, in this circumstance, Kathleen Kennedy is saying, Sean Levy, I want a Sean Levy Star Wars film.
Hmm.
But I agree more with the idea of getting a Sean Levy style director to direct something that they've just had written. Like that's how they
Well,
should be doing this. I don't think that it always needs, there's always this like one foot in the auteur theory kind of bullshit going on when really you just need a competent director and a competent script. And a lot of the Star Wars stuff is going to work out from that.
well, the writer for it, like Trapper, like
Yeah.
his two TV shows that he like created, Warrior and Banshee, which he showruns both, I think. They're like really highly regarded, and like apparently the fights in Warrior are great. Like, and again, he's showrunning that show, so
Yeah.
yeah. But they don't want to go that direction. They want to go in. Hey, you wrote the Adam Project with Levy. That's sort of what we want, and that doesn't appeal to me as much. We also believe, or at least Snyder said that like Ray is somewhat involved in that movie
Right.
as well. So I don't know. Like I know they like Levy, um,
Well,
and I
I mean, and maybe in that instance, that maybe they want like that sort of sarcastic charm. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe that's what we call it. But then maybe the writer is there to also bring the Star Wars action, like at the level that Star Wars action sequences demand.
I don't
But
know. I would hope they look at his other work outside of the writer. But then again,
yeah,
I guess Levy was probably the one who picked the writer to do what he's done for him in the past.
yeah,
You know. Um. But yeah, and then the Ray one. That's the one. I do think it'll happen. I think.
yeah.
But like, it's
It
the one
will
where I'm like,
happen.
you know, in this moment, it's the one I'm like least confident about.
Hmm.
I'm more confident in Levy just because he'll have momentum coming out of Deadpool.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and he's hitting like stages correctly. It seems.
Well, I also think that just based off of the past, what they've even admitted to, when something gets beyond the 5 year mark and it's not
Mm,
happening, like Ryan's, that's when
mm.
you got to go. It's not happening.
Taika's 4 years already
You
now.
know, yeah, yeah, and that's why I'm saying like by like next year, we don't really have like movement going on. That's
Hmm.
like okay, assured movement.
Hmm.
Then I'm gonna say yeah, it ain't. It's not gonna happen. But Scott TV says Waititi's trajectory feels very similar to Ivan Reitman or John Landis, where they just lost it. I love Ghostbusters 2 as much as Jason does, by the way. Yeah, I think in Taika's a very specific instance, he just needs to do one thing, not 100 things. He's coming out of that from that perspective of, oh man, I haven't had money my whole life, probably. I'm guessing here, but I'm thinking that's what it is. So when a job comes, you take it. If it's really money, real money, you don't turn it down. And as probably somebody who didn't come from a lot of money, he probably assumes the gravy train will turn off someday. I need to cash in while I can. And so I think that's what's happening, but I think it's to the detriment of his output. So hopefully I could see a point where we have the workhorse era, which is what we're currently in, and hopefully after he has a little bit of security, which he should by now, even I would think. I don't know man's money, but I'm guessing he probably does. And maybe he starts to go, you know what? I don't have to work like this. I can just do a project and do it well and then go on to the next one. I don't have to have 20 things going on. I mean, there was, oh God, was it you who showed it to me or was it Rob? But somebody was like, it was like a podcast. They were talking about how like somebody did a meeting with them and it was the rudest meeting that they ever did. They didn't blame it on Taika. They just knew the guy was so busy he couldn't even do a meeting. And that
Mm-hmm.
was like last year or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of the the way it is for that guy right now. But I'm hoping he just chills out. I think if he chills out, he'll just go back to. I think he's solid. I just don't think anybody can do 20 things at a time. You know?
Do you like, because it looks like the Marvel gravy train for him is gone. Like, it doesn't seem like he wants to do Thor again anyway. But like, I don't like the way they sort of handled him
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. Like, they almost, like Chris Hemsworth and like some of the others, almost like the blame of that movie, like its
Right.
quality, at Taika's feet. And like, they're like,
Right.
oh, we went too far with the comedy and humor and all this. It was like, well, why? Like, if that is the case, where was Marvel to step in during like the script writing phase and
Yeah.
seeing the dailies and being like, uh, tone it down a bit,
Yeah.
like, where were those executives? That didn't happen. So I don't think it's fair to like put that blame on Taika. And I like Taika Waititi, like I like his movies. So I feel sorry for him in that regard. Um, and yeah, I'm still excited about what he's got coming, like that Clara and Son movie. Like I said, supposedly a really good book, and I like
Yeah.
the talent that's involved in it. So hopefully he's. Hmm?
Yeah, no. Patrick Boyle has been a member for 28 months. Thank you, Patrick. It says good to have you back, buddy. Snap Bespin also. So there we go. Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, as we move forward here in the next like couple of months, like very soon, actually, within about 3 weeks, like I said, they're supposed to be filming at the train yard in El Segundo. And when that happens, that's when we kind of get more into an open season on actual things to discuss.
Hmm.
And I didn't go crazy on Acolyte because it was for me it was a very mid show, and I was like I didn't have it in me to come and gush when it was competent, you
Hmm.
know? And I also didn't want to crap on it all day either because that's just boring, you know? And I
Hmm.
know a lot of you are enjoying it and I don't want to ruin your fun, so I just
Also, a lot
left
of
it alone.
people like to listen to people not enjoy something,
Yeah.
because they not enjoy. They want to hear that, like, they want to hear that back to themselves.
Just record
You know.
yourself having sex next time, losers.
Uh,
Burn. Um, Ray of Water says, I don't know who would score Sean Levy's movie because he works with different people. Maybe Rod Simonson, who scored the Adam Project and Deadpool and Wolverine, but he has worked with Giacchino. So yeah, on I just hope we're out of that phase where we get like John Williams to write like 5 notes and call it a theme. I just hope
the man
we don't
needs to
get any of that.
retire. I'm over it at this point. Like,
Yeah.
he's given the world so many great pieces of music. But in the more recent times, nothing's been that like remarkable. It's time to move
Right.
on. Like, he's given so much to the world of film and music. You don't need to keep doing this. It's time to retire and enjoy your life. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing he enjoys writing music, and
he
that's the
must, yeah,
problem. But
yeah.
Gold Searcher says, "Are we sure Mandalorian and Grogu will still film in 3 weeks, despite the potential strike of Teamsters 3999? Even if IATSE getting a deal gives me hope they won't strike. I mean, if a strike was to happen, I mean, I guess that would stop it.
It would
But
stop it
right
again. Yeah.
now, like when it came to the actual like other strikes we had, they knew it was coming. because they orchestrated it, not Lucasfilm specifically, but Disney. Iger and Zaslav and those douches, they all got together and decided that was going to happen no matter what. And
Yeah, they wanted like it to go on for like at least a certain number of months.
they thought they were going to punish everybody and win.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they thought. In the end, they just really damaged the film industry in an irreparable way for the immediate future. Morons.
I like the like in like press releases and stuff like our film was delayed because of the strikes and this and that. Like it's almost like a sympathy vote for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, you fucking caused that. Like
Yeah.
you could have stepped up to the plate and done the right thing. Instead, you chose to like sit on your hands and play golf with all together for months and not even care. So I don't know.
Disneyland workers are striking, or I don't know if they're actual striking or like threatening to, but I saw them picketing.
Yeah.
So good for them. I mean, if you don't, then they'll just walk all over you. But with Mando and Grogu, they're building right now, so I'm confident that they are confident they will be filming, or they wouldn't do it, because when they go and they build up everything, then they leave it up longer, then they have to remake it and fix it, and the stuff doesn't last that long.
And again, people need to remember your report from last summer of obviously they were in the pre-production phase of Mando season 4, and John even confirmed it, right? Like, and then the strikes happened, and in your report from last year where you said they're debating or talking about making it a movie, that was due to the strikes. That was due to them, like, not being able to go into production on the series, the delays that would have on the series, also the delays they had on other movies. Like the Rey movie was supposed to film in April. Like, if there was no strikes, they were hoping to have a script from Stephen Knight in May of last year. They wanted to get casting underway by Labor Day, and then start filming in April.
And then after the strikes, look at the amount of time that has passed. That confirms that wasn't going to happen.
Oh yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
That wasn't going to happen.
But
no,
but that was the situation then. Like, so we didn't just delay one production, didn't delay the Mandalorian season 4, it delayed the Rey movie. And now we're in a position of like that made Mando adapt into a film. And if there's a strike again now, I think they like I have no sympathy for them, as a company, as a studio,
right?
Because of how they handled the last one. I have sympathy for the workers, but I don't have sympathy for the studios.
Right.
And I'm not bothered about Mando getting delayed a few more months if people get what they deserve.
Yeah. And Rhea Waters says Mangold's movie has a co-writer, I think, the one that got an Emmy nomination for Andor.
Yes, Bo Willimon. Yeah.
Yeah. Old Bo Willimon.
We covered it like when it happened, right? Like a couple months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, Rhea Water, if you were ever to do a podcast or something like that, I would listen to it, because you're on it and you got a pretty good. I usually agree with what you have to say, and I think you have a pretty good mind for this stuff. So if you were ever thinking about it, you should consider it.
All I would say to Ray Water is learn from us, in the sense of
don't be us.
Don't like commit so much of your life to Star Wars, right? For a start, but like two, when you cover the news and you cover like reputable people, like make sure they are reputable. Like, we don't cover like certain Patreon posts or websites or wherever it might be, because the reputation, the track record isn't good. I don't think Ray's one of these people who like messages us to say like, "Hey, so and so said this," and those people should know better, because we've had communication with them for years, maybe. But yeah, like I see Ray of Water in the Hot Mic chat. Like when I watch the Hot Mic, I see her and they're popping in asking questions, not just about Star Wars. So if she's got interest in things outside of Star Wars, even better, because you don't want to commit to Star Wars. Like, especially if you're going to try and make money out of it, there's no money in Star Wars. So
no money in Star Wars.
There's not, right? Like, we know this. Like, this is why I'm like, hey, it'd be cool if somebody here would give me like some coffee money. Yeah, that'd be cool. you know,
So a friend of
like
mine has a big podcast. It's
mhm.
gone on for years.
Jeff Sniper.
No, it's not. It's not even a movie podcast. But it's been like 10 years, and they at one point were making hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mm-hmm.
sharing it with a team, obviously.
Right.
But you know what I mean. But it was good money. Today they are as popular, but it has dried up considerably because
Mm-hmm.
it's so diluted.
Right.
Like 10 years ago, when you went and to do a podcast, there was so much less. And now today, everybody starts a podcast every day and does 3 episodes and then fucks off. And then when you try to search for Star Wars podcast, you don't get the good ones. You just shows the thing that's like the random thing it shows you, or the thing that like is the closest to your search query, and it doesn't really like help.
Well, I
So
never made a single penny off of my podcast. Like, I didn't
yeah,
make a single thing off of it.
yeah,
Not that that was the intention of making it, but it never generated anything, you know?
right,
So,
right.
and again,
Yeah,
you're putting like hours of your life
I
into it.
lived off of it for a time. Like there was a time when it was lucrative enough for me, but those days have gone, obviously.
Yeah, well, you know what I make through all of this, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like, I could never, ever,
Chaos. You make
ever
chaos.
live off of this, ever, you know? Like,
I mean, yeah. Okay, Jake Paul. I mean, what? It's not enough for you? What, need a Lambo? What do you need?
no, I just need any car that would
I
work.
just need food. I just need the lights on and food.
Yeah, I need
And my
food,
car to work.
my car to work, and yeah, just basic life stuff. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
but that's if I was giving anybody advice, I'd be like, don't commit yourself to Star Wars. Do a wider podcast. You can do like specific topics or a specific episode or whatever, but like, don't commit to it, and then don't let Star Wars like take a massive portion of your life. And I mean that in the sense of not that you can't be passionate about it or whatever, but like stop you from like other opportunities like in your
Right.
actual life, you know. Um,
Right.
so that if Ray, like I said, I like Ray Water too. I think I'm assuming it's a girl. I don't know if it is,
Maybe not.
but
Who knows?
but like they come across as a pretty intelligent person and somebody like you said who has a good mind for it. So
Yeah,
that's
they've
just
never
advice.
expressed anything about doing a podcast. It was just a suggestion.
Yeah, but it's just to anybody who's like
Yeah,
who's watching this, maybe I suppose.
right. Skywalker's Academy member for 29 months. Thank you, Skywalker's Academy. I mean, to be, it is a whole academy of people, obviously, and not one person. So it's
They
like
could make many
Ezra,
podcasts.
Luke Skywalker's there, Mara Jade's ghost. All these people are there, and they're all supporting the show, and I appreciate it. I'm excited to see how Skywalker's Academy says. I'm excited to see how they'll tie in Skeleton Crew with John and Dave's movies. The kids have aged too much for reshoots. So how long after will it be? Skywalker's Academy, you are more right than you know.
Yeah, he's more right than he knows. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, as to how it ties in, you could remember back to a Bespin Bulletin report, and I don't know if I can't remember who had what now. Honestly, it's all messed.
A lot of
Honestly,
our crap like blends and
yeah, a
so
lot of it's it all mates and makes little spoiler babies. But the pirates from Mando 3 were a part of it. Like the one who lived, he's in it, right?
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah. It's like is it a Nick2? Like a Nick2 guy,
Yeah.
Nick2 pirate guy, not Salad the Hut. Rob, don't get mad. It's not Salad the Hut, but the other guy. Yeah, we believe like those pirates are in it and stuff like that. So it could be that superficial. It could just be like that but who knows? It could also tie in like in a really really big way. I
For
mean,
also, for also that Dave movie is years away. I'm thinking that's like 2029 personally.
okay.
And Skeleton Crew, if it doesn't do anything, they might not bother to like, you know what I mean? They might not make it that like connected to that movie, at
Mm-hmm.
least.
Yeah. I mean, it might be one of those things where if it got a season 2, that's when they're actually with the people we know in the era as they come back or something like
hmm
that. Because and then the other thing about Skeleton Crew is if it's a one and done kind of show, which at this point I probably should just assume it is, they will go home. They will make it
Yeah.
home at the end. Like that's the natural conclusion to a Lost in Space arc. But
Hmm.
I mean, the other cool thing would be they don't go. See, if they have like bad parents, you would be like, oh yeah. Then they just say, no, we're never going home, and they go on a space adventure for the rest of their lives. And you're like, that's cool. But from what we've seen in the little trailer bits, it looks like their parents love them, or at
Yeah, it
least their
does.
adopted
Yeah.
parents, probably. You
They're
know,
trying their
if
best to try and find them and bring them home and, search for them. So, yeah, I think they
yeah.
care.
Yeah, I mean, it plays very much like an ET movie. Like,
Yeah.
Dee Wallace cares about Elliot. So, anyways, Felonious D says, I always record myself having the sex, just like making a soccer. You got to rewatch the tapes over and over to get better. No,
I
Felonious
like that he
D.
really put thought into that message. Like
He
he
really did.
made sure to have it as myself, so we'd say it that way. He's put effort into it. I respect it.
Ray of Water says, I follow Star Wars and Marvel shit very closely. It is something I've thought about, but I despise my own voice. I spend a lot of time on threads moving people away from bad sources. Yeah, I have seen you on there. Also saw your political tweets and thought they were pretty on too. So, Felonious D
I
says,
for Ray of Water, I also don't like hearing my own voice on anything.
yeah.
But if it's something you're passionate about, just do it, I suppose.
Yeah, just don't listen to yourself. Just
Just
do
don't
your
listen to
shows.
yourself back unless you're editing it. Then obviously you got to. You just
Now,
learn to live with
editing
it.
is for losers. Don't edit.
That's why I had
Don't.
people edit for me.
Yeah, you're all had losers do it for me. No, he does not saying that. He wasn't saying that. Felonious D, I know a Ray Awado that would team up for a podcast. Oh man. But all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna have to cut it short here a little bit because I gotta go get my kids. Felonious D says, them kids from space and Simi Valley really got it rough, Jason. Yeah, is this live? Yes, Rule Farmway, it is live. Is it a VHS replay? Do you see tracking issues? Do you see Be Kind Rewind? No, but thank you for being a channel member, Rule. And if you didn't hear the earlier part of the show, as the production of Mandalorian and Grogu ramps up, so will the shows. We just don't want. I don't want to do the daily bitch session with Jason about something that I don't like in Star Wars or whatever. I'd rather cover the production, as that's usually the most optimistic time for everything. Nothing's bad until you've seen it usually, and so that's where the most fun is to be found. But I do got to go get my kids because they are off for summer vacation and all that, and so I got to go take care of business. But thank you to everybody for supporting the show, and make sure that you go to bestmanbulletin.com, read the site, click on the ads, even if you don't care about the ads, just to get them paid. You could support Bestman on Patreon, and you could send him a coffee, and you could become a channel member on this show is the best way to support me. But I also have a Patreon if you just prefer that ecosystem. I don't do anything on the Patreon. Everything I do is here. But if you want to support the show, it's good. And the thing about here is I always know how much money I am going to be getting per month, which tells me how much I can devote back to Star Wars. If I'm going to go sit for 2 hours on the 405 to get to the set, it tells me, no, people gave me money to do this. I can do this. And I want to do that, for the record. It just, I got bills, I got kids and stuff like that. So
my Patreon's just ad-free articles. So if the ads are annoying on the website, just for $5 a month, I think it is what it is. It's you get no ads, but if that's not worth it to you, that's cool.
Hey, Star Wars Santa, number one, happy birthday again. I texted him this morning, so I forgot to tell him on the show because I texted him and I had that in my
busy.
brain.
I didn't message him. As soon as I got home, we did this.
I was telling you yesterday about a present that I got for Santa, and I'm not just saying that now because of this.
Nope, he definitely told me last night about a present. and
Yeah.
I said to him, "That's a very cool idea. He would definitely appreciate it." It is a thing we've spoken about. This is not just he's just saying it here. Like he is genuinely being honest.
Yeah, yeah, he's good. But yeah, Santa sent me a cut of the earnings from the show on his show. You didn't have to do that, man. On don't you keep the money on your thing. But I do appreciate that though, man. That is super nice. And make sure that you go watch Star Wars Santa show. He is always in a very good mood about Star Wars, and I do appreciate that though. Because I think he's a sincere guy. So it means you don't always want trouble when you're just trying to like enjoy something. And Santa tries to enjoy himself, so very respectable on that point. Thank you, Santa, and happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
dude.
Santa.
And like I said earlier, eat cake for both of us. Eat a lot of cake, Christmas cake. What do you think? What kind of cake you think he has for Christmas? I mean,
I don't
for his
think
birthday. You think it's like
I
a
don't think
Christmas
he
cake?
has. I don't think he has a cake. I think he has one of those like big ass cookies.
Oh, like a big ass cookie, like a
Yeah,
bazooki
yeah. You know, like
with a
there's like
bigger
a
glass
big.
of milk.
Yeah, so I think he like chugs a big glass of milk. And he has like a cookie the size of a cake.
And then he probably complains that when he goes to kids' houses and gives them toys, that their cookies suck because they're just some store bought trash with
Yeah,
preservatives.
yeah.
But
All cookies
anyway,
like cookies don't even taste like anything to Santa anymore. You know,
true.
like he just goes in and he takes
You
a bite. He
so
doesn't
much,
even feel it. He doesn't feel any love. He doesn't feel any joy. You know,
right?
it's just part of the job.
Okay. So, anyways, gotta go get the kids. Bespin Bulletin. Thank you for the help and for the 1-2 punch today. I appreciate it. Felonious D. Thank you for being there in the chat. Your presence was felt. I'm looking forward to seeing you, dude. All right. We'll see everybody soon. Bye.